Where do you put your pattern? Why do you want to be farther out? What's the primary objective of a pattern? Number one, simple purpose of making our pattern. The purpose of our pattern is just, landing is right, but the purpose is to get ourselves somewhere right out about here, 200 feet up, going straight to the point we're going to land at. That's the basic purpose. Set up the landing, a couple of 100 feet up, short distance out. Quarter mile. That's number one. What's the second purpose? We fly a rectangular pattern around the airport. It is not because it makes it easy to land. It has not got anything to do with landing. It has to do with organizing the airplanes so that we are all doing the same thing, can find the other guys, and coordinate. The purpose of the rectangle has nothing to do with getting you on the ground. The rectangle, it doesn't matter, for the purpose of organizing the airplanes, it really doesn't matter if you're here or you're here. You're going to see the other guy anyway. Being in that rectangle is you'll get organized, and anywhere from here to here, if you're doing the same thing as the other people and doing what people are expecting, you'll be somewhere, you'll get seen, you'll be able to find them. You'll be able to see them. If you do that and you look at my patterns, you'll find me out here on a white line. I'm a big pattern guy. I'm on the outside. Not everybody is, and it's not always the right answer. I'm not going to give you an answer here. The idea is to think about what do you gain, what do you lose. Okay, landing locations. We got choices about where we land. Biggest choice is what are the obstructions, and what are they going to do? Is that kid going to run out? Are they going to push that glider out on there? Are they going to launch that plane and allow me to land in my favorite spot, which is out here on the paved piece out in the middle? I mean, I like landing short on the paved piece, but they got to get the glider out of my way, right? So I adjust my pattern sometimes to make room for them to leave. And then I get very frustrated because I make my pattern bigger and they're standing there waiting for me to land. What are the other choices? How about distance? Do you choose where you're going to put it? My first choice is to put it in the most convenient spot at the end. I mean, when you're landing a club glider, you're trying to land it where it's easiest to push it back and get it off to the side. There's nothing wrong with that. That's a good thing. There's a funny error in this particular panel that I always like. This is from the Airport Information AIM, from the Airport Information Manual. What's it say? It says, gliders use right traffic to 3-4 left. This is actually the FAA's formal procedure for this airport. That's what I'm wondering. And the point of this talk is not to give you the answers. We're not going to walk out of this room with the right set of answers about our flying. The point of this is to get people to think about the trade-offs that we make in our flying. We're making trade-offs, and what I would like to see come out of this room doing differently is that the trade-offs are made more consciously, that we think about them a little bit more, we think about the trade-offs a little bit ahead, we have, in our own activity, started to work on choosing what we're doing instead of just performing. So the last little story, the first time I gave a talk about trade-offs and margins like this was at Sugarbush. It was for a safety briefing of a glider contest, and at Sugarbush we sit under a bunch of trees at some picnic tables behind the tower. And it's really a pleasant environment. My kid climbed the trees when he was growing up. But those trees are there for a reason. The trees were planted in that location in memory of pilots that lost their lives flying out of Sugarbush. There's a couple of people that are personal to me that I got names on this sheet from. But each of us has got somebody that may have been in that situation, somebody that's a friend of a friend, or even a personal friend or a close personal friend that lost their lives in flying. To close this talk, I'd just like to take a moment of silence for those people, remembering them and remembering how serious this really is.